austerity psychosis in Washington, D.C. And again, the tragedy of this is the stupidity and the futility of it. And it's centered, of course, in the so-called Tea Party. I would call them the Koch Brigade, the Koch wing of the Republican Party. Remember, we've got the normal reactionaries around Boehner and Cantor, and then we've got the ultra reactionaries, the foaming at the mouth reactionaries around Bachmann and others. Now, remember, a lot of these Koch Brigade Tea Party people had been running for office with a pledge that they would cut $100 billion out of domestic discretionary spending in the current year. Now, domestic discretionary, it means military budget cuts would not count towards that. And indeed, there are some military budget cuts that are mooted, but they say, no, those can't count because we said domestic discretionary, non-military, and discretionary. Well, one of the obvious things in this is unemployment benefits. Social Security Act of 1935, unemployment benefits as amended, that has to come through an appropriation from year to year. Now, we're covered for the rest of 2011 into the very beginning of 2012, but after that, of course, it runs out, even though the tax cuts for the rich go on. And they're looking at other things. So the dynamic is that Boehner and Ryan came out with $38 billion in cuts, saying that because of the continuing resolution, Obama had not increased spending this year in the way that he wanted to, but he's still operating on the 2010 budget levels, and therefore, in order to get $100 billion in cuts from the theoretical level that Obama would have wanted, you don't need as much. Plus, you're starting well into the fiscal year. Remember, the fiscal year begins October 1st, so you're not in a position to cut very much in the budget that's going to be done right now. And at this point, we have the rebellion of the ultra-reactionaries, Bachmann, who is obviously mentally unstable, who is somebody, I think, on the verge of a nervous breakdown just about every moment of her life. She comes out and says, no, I'm making policy here. I represent the Tea Party. She, of course, is a tired old hack who was there for many years before any Tea Party was ever heard of, but she has successfully battened herself like a leech onto the body of the Koch Brigade and indeed become their leader because she's got support in the right-wing media who put her on television. She wants $100 billion in cuts. Now, what does this lead to? Well, right now the U.S. federal government is working under a continuing resolution which was voted for in December of last year. It is a continuing resolution that keeps spending at the previous year's levels. It expires on March 4th. Therefore, in these weeks now, leading up to March 4th, the need to pass another continuing resolution or the attempt of the Koch Brigade Tea Party fanatics to impose their ideas of draconian, drastic, brutal, bone-crushing, genocidal austerity on the American people. And, of course, these people, they say, well, we represent people who have money and will continue to have money, and therefore we're not interested. Nation? What nation? This is a collection of economic operators, right? Economic subjects. There is no nation here in the United States. So we've got that coming up. And then we've got the debt limit, even more serious. A default by the United States on its payment obligations has never happened, but with the gang that you've got now, and again, the Koch Brigade lead the charge, you may have that as a danger. I would warn against it. Again, the Constitution says the Congress shall have the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States. So the balanced budget is not built into the Constitution. The balanced budget is emphatically alien to the Constitution. The Constitution contradicts the insanity, the austerity psychosis of the balanced budget amendment. This would be the suicide of this nation. And the people who promote it are in the area of betraying their country. And these are overt acts. So this is a very, very serious matter. Now, generally speaking, the Wall Street group has sent the message to people like Boehner and McConnell that they want this issue solved. On the other hand, you have a bunch of used car dealers and other people coming in on this Tea Party Koch ticket. They've been funded by the Koch interests, but they come in with all of their ideological furor, and they're going to try to impose their ideology as a pro-Christian bed for the rest of the country to lie on. And this is an explosive mixture. I remember people in 1995 who thought that it could never happen in a million years that Gingrich and Army would be as insane as to shut down the U.S. government. But they did it. Now, the question was, Clinton had minimal political skills, was able to turn this to the disadvantage of the fanatics, Gingrich and Army. Let's look at Obama. Which way is he leaning? Well, he's already making concessions to this, and some of these things are unspeakable. For example, we've got the Obama White House suggesting areas where domestic discretionary spending could be cut. And one of these is LIHEAP. Let's focus on LIHEAP. This is the Low-Income Heat and Energy Assistance Program. And especially in places that are cold, but also in places that are very hot. LIHEAP is a means of giving poor people, the destitute and others, a means of heating their homes in the winter and therefore not freezing to death, and also of perhaps having at least a fan or an air conditioner in their homes in the summer so that they don't die as a result of heat exhaustion and dehydration. This is about $5 billion a year for the entire United States. It's a couple of days of the insane adventure out there in Iraq and Afghanistan, or maybe it's a couple of weeks. It is an inconsequential sum. The Obama White House now signals that they want to have deep, draconian, cut and gut reductions in the LIHEAP budget, and here we see the hand of Austin the Ghoul Goolsbee, who is now the head of the economic advisors. How do we know this? Well, we know it from reading Obama, the Postmodern Coup, the book that exposed all of this in advance. Here we have the interesting article, Obama to the state of Maine, drop dead, Maine being a very cold place where this stuff is needed. This is dated, dateline, Augusta, Maine, February 8th. The Illinois senator has helped to block emergency LIHEAP money for Maine this winter. Obama to Maine, drop dead. Barack Obama's chief economics advisor, Austin Goolsbee, today boasted on CNBC that the Obama campaign had helped to prevent emergency heating assistance for low-income families from being included in the just-approved economic stimulus package, which is now on its way to President Bush's desk for signature. Now, this is the Bush stimulus of the late winter, early spring of 2008. It's not the one that came a year later. An increase in federal low-income heating assistance, known as LIHEAP, Goolsbee pointed out, had been championed by Hillary Clinton, but Goolsbee was against it. And this was an interview on CNBC. This is Goolsbee saying Obama is more respectful of market forces, and he doesn't want money for a low-income heating assistance through a bureaucratic program. Now, that anybody who was paying attention could see Obama's a neoliberal, Obama's a monetarist, he's a traitor, and now it's coming again with Austin Goolsbee. Back in a minute.